Test. There we go. Test. Yo, man. I don't know where that hiss is coming from. Hold on. There it is. Yo. I don't know where that hiss is coming from. It's weird. I ain't been around in a while. I'm sick as a dog. I think I got COVID again. I had it before. Um, I had it 2 years ago, and I just stayed here, and the rest of the family stayed up there, and they pretty much fed me with a slingshot and a long-handled spoon, So I stayed in here. The rest of the family was out there. So what's going on out there, y'all? I'm gonna try to. I haven't been playing at all. I've been taking my wife's advice and just not doing anything and resting and what have you. So I'm rusty. I know I'm right. I can feel it. Yeah, I'm way out of practice. Hey, what the heck's going on with this? I need slack. That's what it is. I need some slack. Yo, what do you guys think about this whole election thing? I know people say don't talk about politics or religion. I say I don't care. I talk about what I want to talk about. I think it was kind of I don't know. I'm gonna be playing drums before election, and I'm gonna be playing drums after election. Wait a minute, is my head chopped off? Almost. Okay. Anderson Paak? Oh, I don't know that, and I like Anderson too. Y'all killing me. I got to do some homework. I like Anderson too. Oh, there it is. Yo, um, never mind. That's a Vinnie Colaiuta song. Well, it's an Alan Halsworth song. I'm already starting to sweat. That's a Alan Halsworth song, Spokes. It is the third song. I don't know what side it is. I got the CD. Did I get the CD? No, I had the cassette when it first came out. Then of course I got the CD, but it took like 10 years to figure out that riff, this opening riff. That is a weird riff. I am out of it, y'all. I'm trying to fight through this whole. I don't know if they still got this like whole algorithm thing, so I really shouldn't say the C word. It feels the same way, man. I had it before. I had the I had the C19 before, and it feels the same. You know, it's the same sluggish, same all the same symptoms, and I just really feel like I got it again. You know, I don't know where I got it from, but I definitely feel like I got it. No energy, no nothing. I'm already sweat. I'm starting to sweat. Yo, Vinny is like a. Vinny was. I don't know, man. Vinny was just different, bro. He's just different. You know, he thinks different. He hears time different. Um, he approaches time different. He approaches odd time different. He hears odd and evens. It's weird. Like he hears odd. There's a song called "I'm Tweaked." Attack of the 20,000 pound pizza. I'm tweaked. Attack of the 20,000 pound pizza. And he plays a rhythm. I saw the interview where it's like he hears that as four. Now, bass player Michael Landau, Steve Lukather on guitar. I can't remember the keyboard player. Basically, it was Toto. It was bass drums and guitar for Toto. All those guys, pretty much. Um, Jeff Vaccaro, Vinnie Colaiuta, Michael Landau, Steve Lukather. Oh, I can't remember this keyboard player. Um, they were like the guys who were playing with everybody, you know. And Carlos Vega, who was another drummer, he had insane timing. Um, they were like what the West Coast Get Down is now. If you know about like if you know who the West Coast Get Down is, the West Coast Get Down are behind like Kendrick Lamar. They're all like jazz guys. So I gotta, man, y'all be putting stuff on there. I'll be having to take notes. Dolphin shoals. They got me writing down stuff, but I like that though. I like that because I can, I like hearing. I like, you know, learning about stuff that like I just don't know. And dudes be like, "Yo, man, you ever hear such and such?" I'm like, "Oh, let me write that down." And then I'll steal a bunch of licks and play them. And you guys be like, "Where you get that lick from?" Well, you suggested a song, and I stole the licks from it. Ah, sorry, I was talking to my son. My son said, "Hi, chat." Y'all, I'm tripping. I'm tripping. I keep thinking, look, I'm sorry. I'm not used to this mute stuff. I don't like having a mic on while I'm playing because it sounds horrible. But like, I'm just not used to the turn. Unmute the mic. Mute the mic. Unmute the mic. Mute the mic. Yeah, he came in here. He's like, I gave him a LeBron jersey, like the one where he's at in Cleveland. I gave him one of those jerseys. So he's like, You got any more jerseys? I was like, yo, man, I got like a fire Lakers jersey and a San Antonio Spurs jersey. I was like, you can have those because he's all into like basketball and sports. My other son's into like tech. The son that's into basketball and sports, he's really um, he really wants to be an engineer. He loves sports, but he wants to be an engineer, and he's like gifted and all that stuff. Like he's just turned 13. He had to take his PSATs, like all that stuff. My other son, he wasn't gifted, but he just don't want to do the work, so they took him out of gifted. But they're like, he's smart. Why doesn't? They're like, I can't make. I'm not gonna beat him. Do the work. You know what I mean? Like he has to get it. He has to mature enough to see the point of doing homework. But like here's another one. They tag after their mama. I'm the idiot with a good enough diploma, a GED, good enough diploma. Yo, I feel weak. The C19 is I think it's C19, man. I feel the same way. Got all the same symptoms. You know, I just didn't get tested. I'm later tonight. I'm probably gonna get. I got a bunch of those C19 tests, so I'll probably test myself. My wife was like, I think you got the. I don't want to see it. I don't want to say it because you two be tripping. Y'all know the pandy flu. You know what I mean? The pandy flu. Oh, if you notice, this is only one. The other one, I couldn't really hit it. I could, but yeah, I like this better because it's actually like a Tom. What I did was, I'm a pack rat. I should have filmed it. I did it this morning. Yesterday morning. Um, Good. Y'all can hear me. What I did was, my neighbor threw out a drum set, complete with cymbals and everything, hardware and everything. He threw it out. I was like, what? He's like, you want it? I'm like, you'll do it. He's like, I know, I didn't even think about it. I was like, okay, well, good. So I told my kids, I was like, yo, grab that tom. You grab that tom, I'll take the bass drum. Told Shorty, my daughter, you take the cymbals, go. And I'm like, for a while I had it on the snare stand. I sat it on the snare stand, but I just wanted the snare stand because, I mean, I got a snare stand right there, a snare stand right there. There's another one around here somewhere. I have four snare stands. Oh, it's in my travel bag. When I go do gigs, I leave one in there. I got a snare stand there. I got a snare stand over there. But I just wanted to free it up because I just wanted to free it up. And I just wanted this. What I wanted to do to this for a while. This is what I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to mount it on the tom for a while. So that set I got, I took one of the tom mounts off, and just the two bongos are just held by a block in the middle, and there's a hole drilled in it, and you just unscrew it, it comes apart, and I just drilled a hole in it, put the tom mount on it, and there you go. Now, the other one, I have to mount that one. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but I just wanted to do that anyway. Because really, if I want to mount it as a tom and just use it as for my travel kit, I can do that. Like that, the kit that I do gigs with, this is gonna go with that. So, it's a cool addition. I don't know if y'all just heard what I just said. Well, of course I had to mic it, but I don't know. I'm not used to this unmute mute stuff. That is from a song. It's a song by Vinnie called "You the Name Slink." It's basically a kind of like an homage to "Snake Oil" by um, Tony Williams. Tony Williams' "Snake Oil" kind of goes kind of sort of like that. It goes like this. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm weak, but I know I gotta practice. Ugh, I am weak. This is the only way I'm gonna actually get some practice in. I'm like, okay, I need to stream, and I know people are gonna be like watching, and they're gonna be forcing me to like. It's gonna force me to play because if I don't stream, I'm like, whatever. I don't feel like playing. So that little bit right there wore me out. That was an old riff I used to play back in the day. Steely Dan, Babylon Sisters. That's actually Bernard Purdie playing that shuffle. That's off of Steely Dan's Gaucho. Let me try to think of Asia. Let me. I used to be able to play that. Oh, I can't remember it. Damn. Chinese music under banyan trees. Hang above the sea. Asia. When all my dying dancing is through, I run to you. Think I'm okay, or so they say. Diddle-a-bee, diddle-a-bee. Double helix in the sky tonight. Asia, when all my dying dancing is through, I run to you. Ba-ba-da. Uh, uh. Blah, 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 bum, bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Can't remember. Um, can't remember the rest of it, man. We used to play that song when I was in high school. With the solo and everything. I haven't played it in so long. And then It was crazy because I like knew that whole album note for note. So I had to actually teach the singer the lyrics and everything. So and how to sing in. I'm like, no, he doesn't say that. He says this. No, he's right here. You know what I mean? So this or this. That's just the stack I made. I'm not used to it. This is a stack. Oh, Lord, y'all. This C19 or whatever it is, or C20 or whatever it is, whatever I got, it got me weak and sweating. Matter of fact, let me turn on the fan. Ooh, that feels good. Oh, oh. That's corny. Corny. Yo, a lot of guys, I learned this from Vinnie. A lot of things that people play is just based on patterns. Um, and it's just mixing and matching of other patterns. Like I have certain patterns. Or just a bunch of patterns. I want to learn this. Yo. Yo. There's a weird wall that you hit. I'm trying to find a way to explain it. There's a weird wall that you hit um, where you're moving your arms like this. But the secret is you can do all this with your wrists and your arms. It's not really fast. Doesn't really require any speed. You can do all this and when you start to go in here, when you start doing that, get rid of the arms. That's what it's all about, fingers. Nobody really tells you that until you get to that wall. I kind of stumbled on it in that I just was like, I just want my hands faster. I started watching guys, especially guys from like the world fastest drummer. They got a whole world fastest drummer league. Well, I watch those guys. I watch guys like him, Mike Mangini, um, Virgil Donati, Vinnie, Ronald Bruner Jr., Thomas Pridgeon, um, Tony Royster, Dennis Chambers, Buddy Rich. Although Buddy Rich says he used wrist, he didn't use fingers. Billy Cobham, you know. So let me not say Buddy Rich, even though I do think he was using fingers. He probably didn't realize it. I don't know. But those guys, they develop their hand technique, their fingers. That way, these sonar stands are the sonar hardware is like ridiculous. It's really good, and you can like drop it off a building; it's not gonna break. But it's like stuff's built like a Mack truck, and the threads are completely different. Yeah, like that. Develop your hand technique, and developing hand technique is literally you know what I mean? Develop your hand technique. Don't worry about triple ratomacues and all these do the basics. Master singles, doubles, and paradiddles. That's it. Singles, and try to make it so that you can play them at the same speed with the same intensity. You know, I used to be able to switch from singles to doubles. I would go singles, doubles, singles, paradiddles, singles, doubles, singles, and like you couldn't hear it. You had to kind of watch it. Like I purposely did that. So, I mean, I'm way out of practice. That's something like you practice, you keep doing it every day, and it's like use it or lose it. But that's a lot of how I develop my finger technique. There's no. That's the secret. That's the secret that a lot of I say this all the time. There are dudes that like straight up will not tell you. Like they won't tell you. They won't. It's okay. They won't tell you. They'll you know they won't tell you those little secrets, man. Those little like you look at it, you're like, how are these guys doing it? It's you have to develop your hands and your fingers like your this arm movement and your fingers are two separate things. If you want access to just what I call freestanding rolls or open rolls, you got to develop your finger technique. And developing your finger technique does not mean, you know, that's a good way to get an injury. It's just relax. Don't worry about how it sounds. You know what I mean? Just get used to the motion. Once you get used to the motion, then you can clean it up. That's it. Just do that. Like what I'm doing right now, what I do in the morning is I'll wake up at 4:30, do what I got to do. From 5 to 5:30, I sit on that practice pad. Well, no. I wake up at 4:30, do what I got to do. I'm usually meditating or whatever, planning out my day. 5 o'clock, I'm doing everything, of course, brush my teeth, get the crumb cake out my eyes, all that stuff, get the goat's milk out my, breath smell like goat's milk, brush your teeth. You know what I mean? Y'all know. And then again, I meditate, what have you. By 5 o'clock, I wake my oldest son up. We work out. Then I work out with him in the morning from 5 to 5:45. He goes upstairs and takes a shower. I can't take a shower, not yet. So what I do from 5:45 to 6, I usually sit down, I fire up that Mac, I fire up that Mac, I fire up that Mac. So the whole lab is like, I light up the lab, turn on the lab. Then by 6:10, I hang out with him again, until he catches the bus at like 6:20. I come downstairs. I usually check emails and what have you. By 7, I get my other son up. I work out with him. From 7 to around 7:45. Then then he goes upstairs and he takes a shower. He comes down. He's homeschooled and my they're homeschooled. So I wake my daughter up at 8 o'clock. My son is my younger son is out of the shower by 8 o'clock. He comes downstairs. He fires up his computer and everything. My daughter comes down. She does brush teeth, wash her face, whatever. She eats, and she's usually eating a little Lucky Charms cereals while she's firing up her computer. Then after that, by 8:30, I'm on a practice pad. And I'll play an open roll. Nothing special. What I do is I'm doing that while I'm watching something like a documentary or something like that that's preferably like an hour long or an hour and a half. And then I'll go upstairs. I won't even eat. I'll go upstairs. By the time I go upstairs, it's like 9:30. My wife, she works from home, so she's up. Her day has started. Then either she makes dinner she makes, like, the kids are old enough to kind of make their own lunch, make their own breakfast. So she either, like, if she gets to it first or I get to it, I'm like, hey, I'm cooking salmon. Do you want some? She's like, yeah, sure. Or she'll be like, hey, I'm making, I don't know. She usually does like the bacon and eggs and stuff like that. Or I'll be like, hey, she'll be like, hey, I'm making bacon and eggs. Or she'll be like, I'm making pancakes and, eggs, and I'll eat that. Or, you know what I mean? So but then after that, by then, it's like maybe 10. I come back downstairs, and I have one of those DW practice pad kits, and I just work out on the practice pad kit for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. And usually it's like, hey, Mark, can you put drum tracks to this, or can you record this, or can you fix this mix, or can you mix this down, or can you, it's something. So that's when my day kind of starts. But it's kind of loosey-goosey because I'm going upstairs, checking on the kids. I might, usually, and then lunchtime, I go out with the kids. We go out riding bikes, hanging out, let them get the sun. Or they just go out in the back. If I got too much stuff to do, they go out in the back, jump on the trampoline or whatever. So, but it's a pretty laid-back day. But my point is, I make time to always get in, to warm up my hands. warm up my feet, like always trying to keep myself conditioned. I just haven't been now because this cold's kicking my butt. But that's generally what I do. Or people are like, hey man, hey, these are the songs we have to play. Okay, the jazz unit, the jazz unit I'm in, he usually sends out 12 songs. It's like, hey bro, these are the songs. It's like 12 songs. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, go on YouTube. Okay, this is a song. Learn it. Okay. Next song. Okay, learn it. You know what I mean? I'll just kind of listen to it, and kind of know where I place things. I don't like necessarily learning stuff note for note because for me that feels too premeditated. So I like to learn the form of the song. If you learn the form, you're good. And there's certain things where you gotta pick your spots. Like there's certain accents you might have to do whatever, but just learn the form of the song. You know, so a lot of that is just really listening and allowing my brain to kind of internalize whatever the music is. Um, but like I said, that's usually like 10 or 12 songs, and usually like today I got like this week I got a week off. I'm not playing on church. I'm not playing at church, so I'm also playing. I play at my church, and we have two kind of units. We have more that's kind of like a traditional old, like not old school, but like kind of like local church kind of vibey feel. And then we have another group that's more of a it's a funkier version of like Israel and New Breed. Yeah, it's like a funkier version of Israel and New Breed. New Breed. Well, it's more a jazzier version because it's a jazzier version of like Israel and New Breed. Um, but we kind of I like well I like them both because one is more worshipful and one is kind of like it's more lively. But so yeah, I spend a lot of time like listening to music, learning music, and then on top of that, like I have to learn stuff for me. Like if somebody or one of you guys say, "Hey, Mark, here's a song with such and such and such," and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, you know what? Let me check that out." So, you know, um, I don't know. I do all that, man. I just started doing that really, probably like 7 or 8 years ago. A friend of mine he's won Grammys. He played on Saturday Night Live. Like he's been on tours. Like MTV Music Awards. I don't want to drop names. That's corny and it's clout chasey. But he's a really good friend of mine. And I always had a problem with being so dedicated to music, and he kind of told me, like, hey man, because he kind of goes through the same thing, or he's kind of like fighting with God, like, oh, he feels guilt, you know what I mean? And he was like, man, look, just do it and lean into the music, you know. And he was just like, follow the music. And ever since I've been doing that, man, I feel like things have just been falling into place. So I'm gonna eventually have a website to sell my music because I was calculating today. I was looking at my stats, and according to Spotify, I've gone gold. My catalog has gone gold. Um, I got like just over 500,000 streams. With my 3 albums, my 2 EPs, my 5 singles, 500,000 streams, which ain't bad. That's from 2016 to about 2020. 2020, I just decided to take a break. But with that right there, 500,000 streams. Y'all, I got $2,935.67 for 500,000 streams. Now you tell me, is it worth it? I'll answer. It's not. It's not. So I'm just gonna go direct to consumer, man. I'm gonna, have a website and just What I want to do is I want to have a website. I want to have my music on it, and I want. If you buy the music, you can also buy the stems, so you can play drums to it yourself, or you can play bass to it yourself, or you can play guitar to it yourself, or whatever. Or you could take the stems and you can download them and you could chop them up and mix and match and do whatever, and you can do your own thing with it. You know what I mean? But putting the stuff on Spotify, Apple Music, and all of that, it ain't working, bro. It ain't working. For me, I want to offer something, but there's I want to make it the people who consume my music. I want to make it worth their while. I want them to be able to have it. You know what I mean? I want them to be able to have the stems. I want them like all the separate tracks, everything. Because for me, man, I've always wanted to do drum covers with dudes' music, and I'm like, I can't erase the music. I can't erase the drums. So I'm not the only person that felt like I'm not the only drummer that's felt like that. So that's what I want to provide, man. You know what I mean? And it ain't gonna be like $11,000. It's like 99 cents. 99. You buy it for 99 cents. You know, you you get the full mix in addition to the stems. So, you know, so really you get 5 tracks. You get the stereo mix, and you get all 4 separate instruments or 3 separate, whatever. You know, so that's what I want to do, bro. Because this streaming service stuff, nah, bro, nah, dog, nope. You're Korean? Welcome, my brother. Master Puppets? Hold on. I don't remember the intro. I remember bits and pieces of it. Chop your breakfast. I can't sing and play. That's pretty easy. You know what's crazy? My homegirl Joanne, she knows me from my metal days. She was like, she saw like a video I put up or something like that, a promo video. She was like, "You rock! You've always rocked." She was like, "I need a timeless request." Then she started naming all these metal tunes. I need the Trooper and Number of the Beast, you know, and and she named Master of Puppets. So I got some requests from my old buddies from back in the day. But I got to learn that stuff. I've forgotten it, man. It's been so long. The Joker said, "Chop your breakfast on a mirror." dedicated to how it's killing you, still your life is moving faster. If you get sick with C19, someone will feel all alone. Is it always changing? I caught it. I caught it before, so Moderna. Yo, I know a guy who helped make, he worked for Moderna. He helped make that vaccine, bro. Yeah. He's the guitarist in the jazz unit that I'm in. My man Kenny. He might be watching. Whiplash ain't real, bro. Whiplash is fake. Every non-drummer mentions whiplash. It's fake, bro. It's not real. Not real. If somebody threw something at you, you'd get up and beat the crap out of the teacher. I'm sorry. Like, what? Even if you didn't do that, you'd own that school. Because, like, you could sue. Like, come on, bro. That stuff ain't real. Like, all that. Yeah, man, it ain't real, bro. That's not real. Like, that's not real. You know, and it's like, dudes are like, oh, man. No, it's not like that, bro. It's not. It's not like that. That's a really good exercise. Here's a good exercise. Um, it helps with your feel and your ability to kind of like lay, play on the beat, play ahead of the beat, play behind the beat. You can stretch the time. This is a really good exercise. Advice as a drummer. Well, I'll tripping about what? How long have I been playing? Probably longer than you've been alive. Depending how old you are, probably longer than your parents have been alive. I'm 59. 51 years. Yeah. I was like, I don't know, man. I think I was 7 or 8. But I got hooked on music when I was 3. But I was about 7 or 8 when I started. I was 7 or 8 when I started. I was 13 when I got serious. um, because prior to getting serious about playing drums, I was I was playing guitar for years and years and years and years. I play guitar, um, and then I started playing drums, and I was a better drummer than I was a guitarist because I just and spending more time on drums. But I started playing drums. I was 7 or 8. Um, yeah, I was 7 or 8, and I'm 59. So you do the math. Um, but yeah, any advice? I would say practice as much as you possibly can, whether on a kit or a practice pad, but practice as much as possible. Hold on, guys. I used to walk down the street like this. I would literally be walking down the street like this. Just switching hands. This is, um, and I'm gonna be honest. I become a drum nerd, bro. Become a nerd. That's the best advice. Become if you want to be good, become a nerd. You know, like fill your life with how to get better on drums. Um, because if you don't, somebody else is. It depends on how serious you want to get about it. If you're hyper competitive, then you're gonna answer the call. If you just don't want to get that good, you just be good enough to just kind of, whatever. It depends on how much time you put in, man. You know what I mean? And for me, man, I take this serious. Like, when I'm not practicing, somebody else is. If I ain't playing, somebody else is playing, and they're practicing to take my job. Nah, you're not taking food out my kid's mouth. So I take it serious, man. I put a lot of time in it, man. I put obsessive amounts of time in it. Like you know what I mean? Because I want that edge. When I want it to be. There's no like. I don't want there to be. Should I? No, I want it to be like, oh, this guy. He's clearly like, you know what I mean? But that's what you want. The best way to get the gigs is just be better than everybody else. That's the only way. And nowadays ain't like it used to be where if you're a slouch, you could kind of get away with it. Now, because there's so few jobs, so few like drum jobs, you know what I mean, where, drummers got to A, wear more hats, and B, they really have to be good. Like you really have to be good, man. Because there's somebody out there somebody like me looking to take your job. Somebody like me. I'm looking to take your job. So if you feel like you can out-practice me, that's fine, well, and good. But I'm trying to take your job, bro. I'm trying to take whoever's job I can. You know what I mean? So I suggest you just practice as much as possible. You know, and I'll say this: don't discriminate. Let's learn all different kinds of music. Um, Play on an electric kit if you need to. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, put in the practice, man. Put in the practice. I'm just a product of playing over and over and over and over. Like, I play like every day, bro. Like, I'm always learning something, and not just every day. Like, I'm fortunate where my day is kind of open and I set my own hours. So I set out time. My phone has alarms from 4:30, 4:30, 5 o'clock. 5:30, 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11, 12. These are the alarms on my phone. Then it goes to 2 o'clock. No, it goes to 2 o'clock. Then it goes to 5. Then it goes to 6. Then it goes to 7 o'clock. And the last alarm of the night is 8:30. I want to know what time it is at all times, because if I structure my time where whatever free time I have, I'm either learning music, and that's outside of, I set aside time to the jazz outfit I'm in. I set aside time for that. The church stuff I'm doing, I set aside time for that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about times where I know at this time and that time I got 45 minutes. I could put in 45 minutes worth of practice on the practice pad. So it's different now where we have practice pads. We don't have to be. And even with me, I'm fortunate, man. My neighbors are cool. They think I'm some kind of star or something like that. Little do they know, I'm like a nobody, but they're cool with it. But, as a courtesy, I got one of those practice pad kits, and I got practice pads all hidden all over the house. But, even to the point where I used to do property management, and I would drive to work like this. On the dashboard, and then I'd be at a light, or I'd be drilling like this. You know what I mean? Always practicing, always trying to get an edge on the next drummer. And you gotta be obsessed. You have to really be obsessed. You know what I mean? About your craft. Do I teach in person? I've never thought I was good at it, although I have kind of people would say, you have a teaching spirit. No, I just like to share it, whatever. Maybe it is a teaching spirit. I mean, that's actually biblical. But I don't know. I mean, I don't see why not. I'm trying to get. I have this certain thing. Well, I don't know. I haven't gotten around to it. I can. People have asked me to teach in person. They've asked me for lessons. I'm usually hesitant to kind of do it because I'm kind of weird, man. I'm like, what do I have to teach anybody else? But my wife and a lot of my friends are like, no, you know a lot, man. You don't get to where you are without learning a lot. So I'm trying to, hey, man, do this or do that or, whatever. So I'm kind of open to it. I'm going to start giving lessons online, definitely through YouTube. But not really, man. Not. I'll say this, not yet. In terms of the short answer is no, not yet. That was the long answer. What should you add to your drum set? What do you King Drummond, what do you have? Well, do you have a basic 5-piece, or do you have, I have, the basics of this is just a Ludwig breakbeat, which is a 4-piece. The snare's it's right there, actually. It's just, I just got a kick. This is from another drum set. This is just some bongo stuff I put on there. But in terms of what you should put on there, it depends on what you have. But for me, a lot of what you see, I tried to add interesting sounds. Almost interesting sounds. This is interesting. This is interesting. I gotta make sure that mic ain't muted. This is interesting. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting because it just has a different tone and it's a different setup and different. You know what I mean? It just sounds different than the whole kit. That's different. This is a 13 by 15, 13-inch 15-inch deep snare. I made this snare. I made this snare and I self-mounted that. I put a mount on that. So a lot of the stuff that I like to hear, I just kind of, if I can't buy it, I'll make it. But I try to add interesting sounds, something that's gonna make you sound like they're gonna know, oh, that's him. You know what I mean? Or, try to add something that's interesting. If you have if you have one cymbal, you might add two. Yeah, I mean, you might add another. If you've got like one crash and a ride, you might add another crash. Or if you got a crash and a ride, you might add a China. Now, in terms of Chinas, if it's a ride cymbal, I'll spend a lot of money on it. If it's a crash, I'll spend a lot of money on it. If it's some hi-hats, I'm 50-50 about it. These are Zildjians, but I also got some really, really cheap ones. This is a Meinl. That's a cheap Meinl. But it's got the sound. This stack is from some old cymbals that I had. I machined them. I cut them down and machined them. This is a stack that I had. I chopped them up, cut them down, and then I drilled holes in them and put screws in them and all that stuff, so it has its own sound. But it's just like a weird stack of cymbals. But try to add something to your kit that has an interesting sound that's gonna separate you from a lot of other people. Yes, that's my next move. Some kind of electric pads. I don't know if that sounds like what you're talking about. The Mandela 3 pads, V3 pads. Yeah, my next move is some kind of electronic something. I need because I have ideas for things. Um, but yeah. Um, since you have cymbals, now you already have cymbals, you got toms and everything. You need to get something electric. Or I'll say this: don't even buy anything. Just keep playing and wait until. For instance, I'll play and I'll get used to this setup, but sometimes I'll hear something different and I want a different sound. Wait till you get to that point before you buy something else. Don't just buy it, because like when we first moved to this house, I was fortunate. We were fortunate to have a serious windfall. I'll leave it there. So I brought a big console, recording console. Um, the drum set I already had, but I invested in cymbals, different percussion stuff, um, all kinds of mics and everything. Long story short, I bought a lot of stuff I just really wasn't ready for. It was just like a bunch of stuff, because I had the money. Yeah, you know. But in retrospect, it was just too much. Like, right, it's best to don't buy things for the sake of I think I need something. First, get better at playing, and then decide whether you need something or not. Because for me, it takes a long time for me to figure out what I really want. So. Oh, this is a 16, bro. I like low setups too. They're easier on your posture and everything else, and it's easier to set up. But this is a 16. The problem with 16s is they have very poor low end. So what I did was people always ask, "What's that red tube in front of your kit?" It's a sub frequency mic. which is basically a 6-inch woofer from a monitor that I have, an old set of monitor speakers I had. I took one of the 6-inch woofers and I stuck it in an 8-inch, an old 8-inch, one of those little kitty drum sets. I stuck it in there. I mounted it like it was like a drum head, and I put a variable volume knob on it, and I put a capacitor. I know which one it is, but I gotta find. There's a specific capacitor. What it does, it controls all of the low end. What happens is you want something to control the low end because it picks up sub frequencies. It also picks up stuff that you can't hear unless you're a dog or a whale. But in the mix, it's in there. And after a while, if you're like recording this and you're recording that and you're recording this, and you've got like I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mics. All the low frequencies, it's gonna get picked up. So even the stuff you can't hear, it 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 adds up in the mix and it sounds muddy. You know, so that's what that capacitor's for. But that my homemade sub frequency mic, it picks up all the low end, so it sounds more full. Because outside of that, man, a 16-inch kick, it's good for like little spot gigs or little hip hop gigs or jazz gigs. But in studio, yeah, you're gonna add to it. You're gonna need to add to it, you know. So, but yeah, man, I love it. It's punchy, and it's got good enough low end. I am playing with some prototypes from a company called Destruction Sticks or something like that. So these are just like prototypes. I'm deciding what I want, and then once I tell them what I want, they're gonna make the sticks, and I'll have my custom sticks. So yeah, these are 43 grams. You know. Thank you, Brett. Exactly. Exactly. But that's this. that's a great exercise. Just in developing your feel, um, developing your ability to stretch time. This is another good one. That's another really good exercise. All right, those are just like warm ups, man. Another one. I mean, you guys had to have seen me do this. If you notice, I start off with a single. Because it forces you to be able to playing a double here is different than this. That's easier. That's easier. That's harder. That's not as hard, but it's harder than this and this. The bigger the drum and the looser the head, the harder it is. And it teaches your hands to be consistent on whatever surface that you're hitting. And that, it's a light touch with using your fingers. You notice I'm not, it's, you know what I mean? It's just, I'm really just doing it. Not, this will kill you. This will stop your playing. It'll end your career. I know, because it almost happened to me. You know, I was forced to start playing with my fingers. There's that riff. There's that riff. Sorry, y'all. Phone's going dead. This is all, it's all audio going into my phone. That's the bed's too big without you. Going blows right through the open door. And I can't sleep with the memory. And dreaming Dreams of what used to be. When you left, I was cold inside. Yo, that's like old Police. That's like on their first album when they were really before they were pop pop. When they were like hardcore reggae, they were like reggae. Like their early stuff, like Regatta de Blanc. That's Regatta de Blanc. It's white reggae. That's literally what it means. White reggae. Um, Outlandos de Amor. That album. Psh, that took a lot, y'all. I gotta catch my breath. Whew. I am tired. All right, y'all. I'll probably come back tonight. Matter of fact, I will. This Robitussin. This is like Robitussin, maximum strength, severe multi-symptom cold. I'm bad, y'all. I'm in bad shape, y'all. I'm like, whew. I'm in bad shape, y'all. But yeah, I'll be back. I'll definitely be back. I gotta eat and hang out with my kids.